Hi everyone, welcome to DynamicsCon and the InsightWorks presentation on how you can use Business Central for manufacturing and distribution. This is Mark Hamblin here today, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation on who we are and what we do, and then we can jump into a little look at the software and some Q&A at the end. So InsightWorks, if you don't know who we are, we've been around for about 10 years now. We've collectively been working with Nav and Business Central for quite a bit longer than that. But selling our add-ons for Nav and Business Central for about 10 years now. We do work primarily in manufacturing and distribution, and even though we're based in Western Canada, we do work globally. We have offices in Europe, and we work through a lot of your existing partners and resellers for Nav and Business Central. So your existing partner that you use for Nav or Business Central likely knows our stuff or can help you with pricing, those types of things. You can check out our website for that. As far as Business Central goes, I mean, we're really focusing on the cloud stuff. We do support on-prem, and we support all the way back to Nav 2013. But a lot of the stuff we want to do is on the cloud, and we were kind of early adopters for that. We started with Business Central Cloud back in 2017 before it was even named, Business Central. It was Project Madeira, and then Dynamics 365 for Business, and all sorts of weird things like that. And we had one of the very first apps out on the App Source on the extension marketplace for Business Central when it came out. Anyway, what we do is, again, we focus on manufacturing distribution, but we actually have solutions throughout your organization, or that'll help you throughout your organization, including things like sales. We have a B2B or a counter sales type product. Our first app was actually a payroll app, but we can help with our shop floor data collection on the manufacturing side to calculate overtime, all those sorts of things, all sorts of stuff that we can do from the time you purchase stuff to the time you sell it and need to report on it. But what we really wanted to focus on today was sort of the key things in the middle here. So warehouse management is actually that little block would be spread out over all of these areas, but I'm bad at flowcharts, so we'll just leave it like this. But the warehouse management side of things, manufacturing and shipping. So that's what we're going to focus on a little bit today. And the products that we have available for those areas are in here. So these are all the products for the most part that we have available. There's some others not on this list, but for the most part, this is our product line. Again, available for Nav all the way up to Business Central for most of these. Now, the ones that focus on manufacturing and distribution specifically are the ones highlighted here. So we've got things like our Warehouse Insight, which is a full-blown WMS solution, Dynamic Ship for carrier integration, printing your labels, rate shopping, packaging, those sorts of things. Down here in manufacturing, we've got shop floor data collection, so your MES solution, and somewhat new, but we've had it for decades, but it's new now to Business Central, is our advanced planning and scheduling solution. So this is finite capacity scheduling for Business Central. So if you're running Business Central today and you're using production orders, this is just one of those things that you just have to have in your environment. It's going to generate the schedule for you that you can actually execute. For the basic use case, it's very easy. You plug it in and away you go. And we can do things way more advanced. So we can model pretty much any production process within there and really improve your production. All right, and then down here, we'll talk about these in a sec here, but this row at the bottom, I mentioned we focus a lot on the cloud side of things. So when we talk about cloud, all of these guys in this bottom row here are all free. And they're available for Business Central Cloud. You can go to the extension marketplace or App Store and install these apps. There's no registration or anything required, and you can start using them pretty much immediately. So we have warehouse management, right? So you can do all the core activities within the warehouse using barcode scanners. So that's receiving, shipping or picking, inventory counts, bin-to-bin movements. You can do that all with WMS Express. Really, it saves a lot of you, most of you, from having to actually pay anything for a warehouse management solution in Business Central. And if you do want way more capability, you can look at Warehouse Insight, and we can do a lot more there. But this is free, and it's a great place to start. Graphical Scheduler for manufacturing. You want to see what your schedule looks like visually. You want to be able to drag and drop things around. You want to do all that sort of thing. Well, a Graphical Scheduler is free. Plug it in, and away you go. You can use it. Print node connector allows you to do cloud printing. So if I want to be able to print from a handheld like WMS Express or something like that, or if I'm just in Business Central and I want to hit print from a sales order and have my packing slip print out here and my invoice print out there and those sorts of things, Print node connector can do that for you. So you sign up with a company called Print Node, they charge you or they have a free plan, and then the connector from us is completely free. Barcode generator allows you to build barcodes on your reports. We ship a bunch of sample reports with it with all the source code. You can take those, you can tailor them, and you've got barcoding on your documents or item labels or whatever you want to do. And finally, Doc Extender allows us to do drag and drop document management. So this is, again, just sort of a no-brainer. It's a must-have for Business Central. You install it, and again, no registration. We don't need your firstborn or anything like that. And now you can drag and drop, attachments from your email or files from your folders, all of that. It'll automatically upload and attach in Business Central or store it in SharePoint. And if you store it in SharePoint, you can do all sorts of fun stuff with Power Automate and alerts and all sorts of good things to sort of create a document management solution around that Doc Extender. So pretty slick stuff. All right, now with that, let's actually have a look at, maybe you want to get one of these free apps or something like that. How would you go about that? So within Business Central, and I'm in our cloud version here, what you would do is come in and we go to the extension marketplace. So you can either go to App Source directly, or from within Business Central, you can come in here and go to the extension marketplace. And when you do that, that's going to load up, all the apps available for Business Central. And let's look at the important ones here. We'll search for InsightWorks. And again, these are all the apps that are available on Business Central Cloud, and some others like that interface with us and those sorts of things. But in here, you can see all the different apps that are available, and anything that says "Get it now" is one of the free apps. You can grab that, and again, no registration or anything required to grab it. So WMS Express, the Print Node Connector, all those sorts of things, and you can install these and start them running. Now, let's say you do want to try something like WMS Express for your warehouse management, or even just Print Node, or those sorts of things. How would you go about doing it? Well, you'd grab one of these things like Doc Extender here, grab it, hit Get It Now. It's going to ask you to install it. I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed. And then once it's installed, what you would do within Business Central is you come in here and you will go into the assisted setup. Okay, so after you install any of our applications, you want to go into assisted setup, and what it's going to do is give you an install wizard that you can run to configure things. So you'll notice we've got a few of our products here: Counter Sales, WMS Express, Graphical Scheduler, MX APS, those types of things. And so what you'll do is you'll choose the product that you've just installed, open up that wizard, and start installing it. Now you can also just search for MX APS setup or Doc Extender setup or anything like that. But if you come into the assisted setup, it's easy to find what you're looking for. You grab it, you can read the terms and conditions, the license agreement, all that stuff from here. If you just say next, most of the applications will also allow you to set up pre-configured data for testing or for playing with the solution. So if you're setting this up in a sandbox, you can install the demo data, for example, for MX APS, to see how it schedules and to see those sorts of things. So, the typical one is we would apply the base setup the first time you install it, and it's going to configure the application so that it's ready to go as soon as you're done with the setup. I've already done it, so I'm just going to say no, but we'd hit next, next, next. If you said install demo data or the base configuration or whatever else, it's going to come in here, it's going to do the install, it's doing the setup, it's doing all that kind of stuff. And when it's done, we're just going to finish out of there, and now that application is usable. So that's really what we want to do when we go through and set up these products. Now, once it's done, I'll just take a sec. This is Business Central here, busy doing its thing. You may not want to wait for that, but it's going to come in and it's going to say setup successful, and we're good. Now, one of the nice things is it gives you this link to the support page for any of the apps you install. If I click on that, it's going to take us to a support page. This lists all of our different applications that are available, and you can go into any one of these and look for the product help, the website, the install guides, user guides, all of that kind of stuff. But really what's important is you get a link to the knowledge base from here. And our knowledge base allows you to go in, and again, I'm in MX APS here, go in and read all the information about that particular product. So we've got the install guide, we've got the user guide, all of that kind of stuff is in here, and you can come in and review whatever you want. So most of the applications that we have available, actually all the applications we have available are in here, and they all have information about how to set it up, how to use it, all of those sorts of things. So if you need help, you can come to the knowledge base first, check it out. We also have a forum you can go to ask questions. You can post your questions, everything else. It's typically, well, not typically, but a lot of the time it's our support personnel answering those questions. So you don't need a support contract with us or talk to us or anything like that. You can go to the forum, ask those questions, and we will respond to you. All right, so that's a little bit on how to get help after you've installed these things if you want to play with them and try them out. Now, that goes for pretty much any one of our apps. You go to the app source, you install it, you run the assisted setup, you can check out the help and everything else. So all fine and good. What I wanted to show you now was a little bit on a couple of the products for manufacturing that are reasonably new. One is the Graphical Scheduler. That's been out for about a year and a half or so now. Actually predates that, but we used to have a paid version of it. Now it's completely free. If you're on Business Central Cloud, you can grab that thing. It's completely free. Same thing with WMS Express. It's completely free. And by the way, if you're on Nav or an on-prem version of Business Central or something like that, and you're considering upgrading to the cloud, this is good business value, because you might be thinking, yeah, well, you know what, we really need to improve our warehouse management, or we really need to start looking at how we manage production, or we need to be able to handle documents better, those sorts of things. Well, you can go out and you can buy those solutions from us or others and plug them into your on-prem system and then worry about upgrading later. Or that money that you would spend on your on-prem implementations, use that money to upgrade to Business Central Cloud, and then you can get a lot of that capability for free, right? So it's a good value proposition for moving up to the cloud solution if that makes sense for you. At any rate, Graphical Scheduler is nice. If I plug that in, install it, what it's going to do the first time I load it up, it's going to show me all the production orders that I have in the system, what they're scheduled on, all the work centers, all of those sorts of things. And what I've done on this particular one, I've created some color rules. So what you're able to do is come in here, create whatever views you want that show different pieces of information. So you can show jobs or sales orders or warehouse shipments or whatever you like. The most typical is going to be production orders, but you can actually come in here, add data sources, and you can graph pretty much any data you want within the system. Now I've got production orders and the load for those work centers and machine centers shown, and then you can create colors. I can say, hey, I want to use these colors based on certain criteria for the data I'm showing. So that's kind of neat. Anyway, and that's what you see here. When I come in, I've got different colors based on the loading. So if it's red, it's overloaded. If it's blue, it's fine, that sort of thing. And that's really what this tool does, right? Now you'll notice this is the schedule that's coming out of Business Central, and it's not really ideal, right? It's scheduled all this work on the same day for this laser cutter, and that might be fine. You might be happy with the schedule that Business Central generates. And by the way, I can drag and drop in here. I can take this and move it around, drop it on a different day or different work center or whatever I want to do, assuming I've got that turned on, which doesn't look like I did. I can do drag and drop. I can do all sorts of things there. But if you need a much better production schedule, if you're in a situation where I've got thousands of orders or thousands of operations, or it's just way too complicated and I don't want to sit there dragging and dropping stuff all the time, you can use what we call MX APS. And MX APS is a solution that's going to schedule everything for you automatically. So if we go back, I'm just going to open up that graphical schedule again. I shouldn't have closed it so quickly. The schedule that the Business Central generates for us out of the box is not all that great, right? It's not really executable. So what I can do with MX is I can go in there, I can run MX, depending on how much data you have. It might be half a minute, 10 seconds, 5 minutes, something like that, short period of time. And what it will do is it'll go out and it'll generate the schedule for me automatically. You can see here, I'm just going to hide this. These are all the schedules I've generated over time, and it'll tell us if we were going to have late orders based on our capacity, based on our material constraints, based on our labor constraints, all of those sorts of things. It'll tell us what we can ship on time, what's going to be late, all of those sorts of things. And now if I come in here and I look at the schedule that MX has generated for us, we're going to see a little bit of a difference. What it's done is it's done forward scheduling, finite capacity, and it's also decided which work center or machine center is going to be best to execute that work. So our laser cutter, instead of having everything scheduled on one day on the main work center, it's broken it up onto the individual machine centers, and it's decided what's going to run when and all of those sorts of things. So it's a very powerful solution, and I'd suggest you look at it. Even if you have basic scheduling requirements at the current pricing, it's not quite free, but it might as well be for how much money it's going to save you on managing your schedule and managing your facility. Right. So those are, two little applications I wanted to show you. Is for mostly for manufacturing is, the MX APS, the graphical scheduler, and of course we have shop floor insight that allows you to capture all the labor from the shop floor. We have warehouse insight that you can do consumption and output. Shop floor insight does that as well. We have WMS Express for handling the material that you produce. All of that capability is there, and a lot of it is free, or as I mentioned with MX APS, it's priced in a way that pretty much everybody can afford it. Actually, it's priced in a way that you can't afford not to get it. So that's really it. So that's how you can really extend Business Central with manufacturing and distribution add-ons at either no cost or very low cost to really improve your capabilities within your facility. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up with a little bit of contact information and leave some time for any questions and answers after this session. If you don't have any questions on what I've talked about, well, you're going to suffer through me talking a lot more about some of the other products. But if you do have questions about this or any of the other products I've mentioned, feel free to go to our website. There's a contact page you can use, or there's a chat box. You can often get real-time chats with our employees and go through and get some additional information. We also have regular webinars that we host, usually a couple a week at least, that you can go in and review these online demos, ask questions, all those sorts of things. Or you can just go to our website, the webcast section, or our YouTube channel, and you can go in and review demos and all sorts of details about all of the different products we offer. And of course, the knowledge base I mentioned, which has a ton of videos on usage and documentation and everything else you might need to get engaged with either the free tools or the paid tools. All of the subscription apps like the Full Warehouse Insight or MX APS, they have a trial version. You can install it, you can play with it, see if it's going to work for you. You can use the forum to ask questions and make sure it's the right fit for you before you jump in. And of course, contact your partner if they're one of our resellers, and there are a lot, most are. They'll be able to help you out with any sort of quotes and coordination and those sorts of things. All right, with that, thanks for listening to me so far, and we're going to open it up at DynamicsCon here for some Q&A.
Hi, morning everyone. As a reward for sitting through that PowerPoint and listening to my voice, you get to listen to me some more. So we've got about 10 minutes roughly here for Q&A, I believe. Hopefully you're all hearing me. I think there's a bit of a delay, so one screen shows me not doing anything, the other one shows me doing stuff. So hopefully everybody heard that, but we're good for Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat window there. I'll answer them as we go. There was one already that just asked if we're available on-prem, which we are. Now there's a bit of a difference. For some of those products like MX APS, we've actually had for a couple of decades. We've got very large customers running that. That historically has been all sort of standalone on-prem type deployments. Now we have it available for cloud and Business Central as an app that you can just install and go. If you are into manufacturing, I mean, that is really a must-have tool. Almost anybody that's in manufacturing needs that MX APS product. You don't have to be a billion-dollar customer to use that product. Anything from, I've got 50 production orders in the shop I need to schedule and keep an eye on, and make sure I'm not scheduling it before I have material and before I have labor available and those sorts of things. I mean, it's very inexpensive. We're talking about, you can start at about $150 a month for that product and go up from there. And just in time savings alone for your planner, that $150 a month, it pays for itself within a day or so. So anyway, MX APS is the way to go. But the other stuff is the, I sort of glossed over there. If you have any questions on any of that, the free tools, the big one that, well, actually all of them, like WMS Express, we've got now hundreds and hundreds of installs out there on that. And that's a great tool. If you're on Business Central Cloud, it's an excellent little WMS that you can use, no cost. You don't even need to get involved with us to get it implemented or anything like that. So it really is, completely free. And the nice thing about that is if you're not on Business Central Cloud, maybe if you're on Business Central on-prem, this doesn't apply. But if you're on Nav, you're thinking, hey, we need a WMS or we need to upgrade, which one do we do? Well, Express allows you to do something like, let's spend our money, instead of spending our money on a WMS, let's spend it on an upgrade to Business Central Cloud, and we get the WMS for free. And we get a bunch of other goodies for free, like the Graphical Scheduler, the document management through Doc Extender, all of those kinds of things just come along for the ride. And if any of you have tried those free products, let us know what your experience is with it, because they're just out there and people install them. We know they've installed it, but we don't really get much feedback on them. I guess I lied. We get a bit. Anyway, let us know what you think of those things. They are very, very useful, I think. Most of the products we have out there are kind of must-haves if you're running a Business Central. So I warned you, if you didn't ask questions, you're going to have to listen to me anyway. At least if you have questions, I have to pause to read them, and then you don't have to hear me talk all the time. A couple other things I wanted to mention on that. So again, MX APS, it's new, but it's old. We've had it for decades, and new for Business Central now, and it's kind of a must-have. WMS Express is another great tool to use, which we talked about. If you need something more robust for warehouse management, that's another one of our big products, is our Warehouse Insight product. It allows you to really run larger scale warehouses, more comprehensive capability, and do everything with those. Finally, again, since nobody's asking questions yet, or maybe they are, oh, look at that, there's tons of questions. I just didn't scroll down. I'm not very technically competent most of the time. All right. Well, I lied. There's not tons of questions. Just everybody saying good morning. Well, morning, everyone. Shop floor integration. Yeah, so we do have a product called Shop Floor Insight that allows you to record in real time what's happening on the shop floor. That's typically through barcodes. There's videos and things like that on our website to show you that. But yeah, that's all sort of manual entry, barcode scanning, right? As manual entry. So automated data capture with barcodes. You scan the barcode, we capture what's happening on the shop floor, send it in, and then MX APS takes that information as schedule, right? Machine goes down, we take that into account, reschedule everything, or customer yells, so you put his order high priority and reschedules, all that sort of thing. And if you're asking specifically about, it doesn't look like you are, but I'm going to answer this question anyway, even though you didn't ask it. Getting information right out of the equipment itself, we can do that as well. That's typically a completely separate project. It's more of an automation project. But yes, if you've got a piece of equipment that has a PLC that's generating information, cycle counts, things like that, no problem. We can connect up to that and get that information. We, as in a group of people, can go in and do it. Your automation provider would set that up, and we could grab the info on it and everything else. But yeah, Shop Floor Insight is the tool we use for that real-time information from the shop floor. That made me think of something else as well, which I can't remember. So maybe I should scroll, see if there's something else. No, good. All right. I can't remember what I was going to say. That's not good. Oh, yes, now I remember. Dynamic Ship is another one to consider. So we have that for Nav and for Business Central. But one of the things to keep in mind, Nav is still good. Everybody uses it. We've got customers still basically running Nav 5 all the way up. The products that we produce or we support all the way from Nav 2013 all the way up into Business Central. But all the new goodies are all coming into Business Central. So if you're on the fence about upgrading and things like that, down the road, all the good stuff is going to be in Business Central, not in Nav. And Dynamic Ship made me think of that because there's a whole bunch of new goodies coming out with Dynamic Ship. And if you don't know what that is, it's a fairly low-cost way of integrating with your carriers, getting your rates, your labels, adding the freight cost to the sales order, all that kind of stuff. and it's tied right into Business Central, so you manage most of your shipping operations directly within Business Central. A couple other questions here. Follow up on the shop floor. Yes, you can use it to track actuals. So you can track your actual labor, your actual consumption, your actual output. You can do quality inspections. You can do link documents. So if you want to show assembly diagrams, things like that, all of those sorts of things can be done inside shop floor insight. And then the getting the information out of the machines, custom application every time, because all of those machines present data differently. And really what we use is a technology called OPC. We can, usually your automation provider will get your OPC server set up and everything else, grab the information, send it to where we can read it, and then we can correlate that with your production orders in Business Central and track that in real time effectively, or at least in more real time than entering stuff on paper and handing it in. But yes, it is absolutely possible. All right. We'll give it a sec because there's about a 10-second delay here, it looks like, between the two. And then I'm going to end if there's no additional questions, so that you get 3 minutes to grab a coffee. Oh, there's another question also. We don't provide specific documentation, but we will tell you where to get all of that data out of the system for Power BI reports. So we do have a sample Power BI report. Well, it's actually a package of 5 or 6 reports in Power BI, but almost everything from that shop floor insight comes out of a single table. Very easy to do reporting out of that. We also have a sample pack of JIT reports you can use as well to see how to build reports. And an upcoming product that'll be out, I'm hoping this year, but early next year, is our enhanced planning pack, which includes our enhanced planning worksheet and a few other things. And then there's also statistical routing analysis within that product. So it'll go in and it'll compare your actuals to your expected, including your standard deviations and a bunch of things like that. All right. I think I'm going to get kicked off soon, and I do want everybody to have a chance to, grab a coffee and everything before the next session. So thanks very much, everybody, for putting up with me this morning. It's too early in the morning to sit here listening to me blab. But I hope you have a great rest of the event at DynamicsCon here, and I hope we will be talking again soon. Thanks, everyone.